good morning, good morning, good morning. Hey, all right. Saying good morning 1,000 times is totally Rhino. You know what? There are some things that are just Rhino, and saying good morning 3 times, then 5 times, then 20 times is it's kind of just what we do. So, super cool. It's so funny because I there's there's actually not a second in the day that we're doing nothing. Um, but then when I come on the live in the morning, I'm like, all right, a couple things. I'm like spending time thinking about what we're doing. And that might just be a consequence of like overload, right? Hey, good morning, Frida. All right, so let me kind of break down some stuff. Hey, Ian, good morning. All right, where do I start? Where was I starting? Anyway, so Rhino Hub, the membership site, is by far the most important thing that we're doing. Excuse me. And it's a total blessing that we've come to it. And I remember, I think it was yesterday or the day before. What's today? Tuesday. So it was yesterday. I was sharing an email that one of our rhinos sent us, in which case the gentleman hadn't really been participating over the last month or two and was asking questions that Rhino was 250, then down to 2, and why is that? And it looks like the membership plateaued and stuff like that. In which case it gave us a topic to speak on, and I was able to share it with everyone. And the best part about that was because, and again, I'm never patting myself on the back. Like, where are we, right? You know, we're not where we want to be yet, so there's no reason to ever say, you know, we've achieved victory. That this is the process. But in journeying the process, there are some times that you're quite confident that the decision you made, hey Deborah, that the decision you made has will steer you in a better direction or a better outcome than without the decision. And what I mean by that is when we went ahead and completed our pilot program of Rhino Bucks, the metrics were amazing. What we realized though was our ability to entice newcomers was not very good. And as a result, instead of us beating our head against the wall and sending out more and more emails and not pressuring, but nudging our affiliates more and nudging everyone to go ahead and work harder, we decided, well, that has a limit. If your conversion for what you're looking to do is, say, under 1%, well, then you can't really make a business model, especially a successful one, by saying, okay, I'm just going to, everything I do, I know 99 of them are going to fail, but one of them will succeed. Therefore, I'm going to make a complete business of doing hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of things with the belief that if I do 1,000 things today, I'll have 10 good results. And of course, when you're young and when you're not really a large company, you could do that for quite some time because you're so small. You haven't met the world yet, right? But when you get to a certain point, that just doesn't work anymore. Like you hit scale, kind of like Peloton, the bike, right? Everyone wanted it during COVID, but then COVID disappeared and nobody wanted it. And when you look at a company like that, it didn't take a brainiac to say, okay, you're a bike, you're an exercise tool. When COVID ends, people are going to go back to the gym. People are going to actually ride a bike outside. But the difference between a company like Peloton and a company like Rhino is Peloton didn't care. They had shareholders and they have executives and they get bonused all their money. So they're like, you know what, instead of changing our model today, knowing that it's never going to work in the future, let's just run it into the ground. Let's bonus ourselves as much as possible. And then when it happens, you know, that's their problem. And what happened? Peloton went from like $100 stock to like $3. Kind of like GoPro and Crocs and all of these different companies that have kind of like a one-trick pony. And the one-trick pony works until you've went ahead and exhausted, until you went ahead and scaled to the entire population. And what we realized was that was never going to work. The method that we were using, which was kind of cold introducing ourselves to new individuals and sharing that, hey, we're trustworthy, come join our crypto platform, was just never going to really catch. And when we were able to do the pilot program, what we were able to identify was that the reason why it's been so successful within Rhino is because everyone's had the opportunity to feel quite confident that their assessment of Rhino and Anthony is comfortable for them to make that decision. Now, whether this works or not is a whole nother story, right? Like, I'm totally biased. I believe it's going to be the best thing ever, ever, ever. But if, say, for instance, this just fails one day, I don't think any individual would say, "Oh my God, I was so tricked." No, they would say, I really didn't see that coming, but I feel quite confident that I was in the know and made the decisions myself the whole way. If I made a wrong decision, I could live with that. It's when people lose things because they were never part of the decision-making process, or they did not understand the decisions they were making. So, I mean, and that's just us being adults, right? Like, we're reasonable adults. Now, with that said, I'll die before that happens. And I think everyone knows that. So maybe, maybe RIP Anthony, right? But that being said, what we decided to do was let's go back to our entire history. And when we wrote that email to everyone, that kind of really was a walk down memory lane from Hipsuasion to Rhino Digital to Rhino Premiere and blah, blah, blah. We were able to identify the things that worked and the reasons why ultimately we moved on. And when you put that all together, plus the Rhino Bucks experience and the point in the economy and the opportunity that we have, you create Rhino Hub, which is a completely free membership where any individual is able to participate. And for a 21-day curriculum, we are live every single day except for Sunday. We send an email every single day where it has the, well, so let me share what it looks like to the people that are joining today, right? Because right now we're in the 21-day live, so it's very different than the people that joined last week and they're going through it today, which is the process I actually want. So anyone that joined last week received an email, hey, welcome to Rhino Hub, look out for your email, Monday it's orientation. Which means yesterday at 8 a.m. they received an orientation email. That orientation email had a blurb, welcome, this is what we're going to do, blah, blah, blah. Gave a link to the YouTube video, which was recorded for the orientation, and all the subsequent links needed for that individual to participate fully in that day. So here's your Salesforce link, here's this link, here's that link, here's that link. Well, the video actually demonstrates, okay, this is how you go sign up, this is what you do, and they receive that 21-day schedule of how to break up their day. The point being, every morning, 8 a.m., this individual is going to receive that email, which means every morning, 8 a.m., this individual is completely caught up and they know what they need to do through the entirety of the day. Which means after 21 days, their success has been in their own hands. They've been completely walked through everything. And we've had the opportunity to go ahead and share with them some of the premium products, which we haven't done yet, right? Like, I want to make that clear. It's day 9. We're not going to do it till like day 16 or 17, because it's not that we're trying to say, oh, well, we don't want to get them right away. We want them to kind of be comfortable and then we'll get them. No, it's just respect for the program. If this is what we're doing, we want you to be successful at it. That's the whole key. If you come into Rhino Hub and you do not attain the certification and you are not successful, then that's on us. Because you can say, yeah, like, we can go ahead and say, yeah, we sold everyone like $20 worth of stuff. But if that individual moves on with life and never had success with what they do, what do they look back at Rhino? Oh, they had a good idea. Their execution was poor. I thought they were going to be good, so I bought some stuff, and here I am being taken advantage of again. And that's the opposite of what we're going to do. But with respect, we will go ahead and offer a product because, again, if you like us, well, duh, right? Like, if you want to take us out on a date, maybe you want to take us out on a second date. I don't know, but I'm going to give you that decision. But here's the point. So in this process of this individual being part of Rhino Hub, in which case they do learn the curriculum, they do pass the test, they do get the certification, and then we walk them through the either creating an agency or applying to different jobs, which are all right there. Like, that's part of it. That's built in already. They're going to, more than anything else, have firsthand knowledge of, wow, this is pretty cool. Like, this worked. I like this. And again, how could they not? It's not that I'm going out on a limb here and saying this person is going to enjoy the experience. If you went from grocer to $100,000 a year job and you're confident and you know what you're doing and you're happy, well, you like the experience. Now, the cool part is in Rhino Hub, you have the opportunity for Rhino Welt, which is $5 a week. You have the opportunity for Rhino Email, which is $1 a week. And by the way, we're dropping the word Rhino on this stuff because, again, what I've learned is I love Rhino, but people that don't know Rhino don't know Rhino, right? So there is a certain level of, yes, I want a brand, but I don't want to confuse. I don't want to have an ego, right? So there's this, whatever. So there's Rhino Welt, Rhino Email, there's prompt engineering, there's something else somewhere. Oh, we're having the store. I'm still working on that, which, by the way, I'm quite the designer, but that's, I'll show everyone the stuff another day. And then I was on the phone with our head of tech yesterday because we were talking about the bot, not the Rhino Bucks. Oh, duh, Rhino Bucks, but not the Rhino Bucks bots, but the bots inside of Rhino Hub, because we do need to train it on all things Rhino Hub, so that anyone could ask it a question and it acts as a sales. So for instance, you're in Rhino Hub and you see the bot and you're like, oh, I have a question about this. Hey, I'm looking to make $100. What do you suggest, right? Like whatever question people come up with. And it would say, hey, there's a lot of ways to make $100, but the ways that we feel most confident in is Rhino Welt. Many people have made many $100 over and over again. If you join now, we'll give you 2 weeks free. Would you like to check it out? The point being, that individual is already in Rhino Hub. That individual already likes Rhino. That individual asked a question. They made an outreach. We went ahead and answered the question and gave them an option in the comfort of their own home, and they have a 2-week free trial. Does that person say yes or no? We believe that more times than not, that person says yes. The bot is completely automated. The bot's going to do that every second of every day times infinity. It's just going to do it to the amount of people that are in Rhino Hub. Therefore, the name of the game is to get as many people into Rhino Hub as possible. But we're not charging anyone for anything. We're offering something that's really, really great. So when I was talking to the head of tech yesterday, and I mentioned this to you yesterday, which is why I'm bringing it up today, the goal was, let's go ahead and duplicate that bot out so that we can offer the same value proposition to anyone else that wants to do that to their sites. And then we were on the phone with Microsoft, and it's going to be so much work. And then I realized I'm just overthinking things. Why would I ever do that? Why would I go ahead and take away from Rhino to go ahead and create something for someone else to do on their site? Now, the answer was because we were going to charge for it, and that reoccurring would go to Rhino. But in doing so, we would have to do so much work in terms of coding it, teaching it, and then more importantly, maintaining it, right? Like the person that bought it isn't going to know how to operate it. So if something fails, we're going to get 1,000 emails. So then it hit me. Why don't we just spend the time making it so highly trained and educated on all things Rhino? And when I say trained, I don't mean like someone says money. Oh, did you say money? Check out Rhino Welt. I mean having full conversation with a behavioral science background where the bot knows it's going to make a recommendation 4 sentences down the road and is wittingly navigating the next 3 sentences by allowing the person to believe that they're coming up with a suggestion that we're kind of subliminally suggesting to them, right? So say, for instance, somebody says, hey, I want to make money. Oh yeah, everyone wants to make money. What do you think the best way to do it would be? Oh, I don't know. Gambling. Well, we don't really recommend gambling, but a lot of people make money in stocks. Do you know anyone that does that? Oh, my friend makes money in stocks, but I don't know much about that stuff. Well, do you know Rhino used to work on Roll Street, and for a 2-week free trial, we actually know a lot about stocks, and we think you'll know more than your friend. Do you want to check it out? Yeah, well, I don't really know anything. Again, it's 2 weeks free, and if you don't like it, just message me and I'll cancel it for you. Does the person say yes or no? We think more times than not, the person says yes. The point being, if we go ahead and spend the amount of time to have the bot saying things like that, which again isn't going to be as difficult as you think it is, but certainly more difficult than I'm letting on. That being said, then how valuable is the bot? Here's the question. The name of the game is how much money per person in Rhino Hub, how much revenue per member of Rhino Hub does Rhino make per week? I don't know the answer to that because it's new. But the reason why that question is so important is because Rhino Hub is a membership that was built to be an agency. See, when everyone is like, yeah, this product's free, but I have to check out with a credit card, why is that? Well, because membership is an actual product, but we're just not charging anything for it. But there has to be a product checkout for it to be a product, right? Like you can't check out on a product. You can't check out if you can't, well, you can't check out if it's not a product, right? Like it needs to be a product to check out. Or it needs to be a checkout to be a product. An agency can only be with a product, right? Like you could only invite someone to be part of your business if it's a business. Now the catch is, well, we did it for free, so the checkout is for free. But the checkout still goes ahead and pings your card for $1 and it drops off, but to make sure that you're a real person, because it has to be a checkout. You have to be a real person. It has to be a real card. It has to be a real bank account. So a lot of times people are like, "Ant, this is kind of weird. It's free, but it's charging me, and I have to put a credit card in. Not interested." In which case, I looked at our abandoned cart, and there's like a lot. So I really need to actually email people and say, "Hey, listen, I saw that you abandoned your cart. Like, why don't you come back?" The point being, for us to welcome someone into agency, it will cost us $60 a month, so like $15 a week. Now, the only reason we would do that is if we had the individual looking to accept it, right? So Abdul says to Anthony, "Hey, I hear that you have this agency thing. I'd like to participate in it." And I say to Abdul, "Well, it's $25 a week. Do you want to sign up?" And Abdul says, "Yeah, I would love to." Now, Abdul pays us $25 a week. We pay Karcher $15 a week, which means Rhino makes $10 a week. Here is the key. Remember the question, what is the revenue per Rhino Hub person per week? Well, the bot is directly responsible for a lot of that, plus the 21-day curriculum, because in the curriculum, and again, in the emails that we're sequencing out, we haven't done it yet, but we're going to find areas in the emails to also recommend stuff like, "Hey, we saw your curriculum was this. Did you check this out?" There'll be plenty of touch points for anyone to be introduced to our services. And again, our services are all weekly based. Okay, so here's the key. If the number of Rhino Hub per week, let's say if each member of Rhino Hub per week is worth $5, right? The average is $5. Someone buys something, some people don't buy something, whatever. Well, then how many members of Rhino Hub do you need to go ahead and pay the $25 that Abdul is going to pay to Rhino? 5, right? 5 times 5 is 25. Okay, well, how many members of Rhino Hub, how many members join Rhino Hub on a weekly basis using the marketing that Rhino has proven? Now, again, it's Rhino email, we do stuff. So Abdul will have his own friends, he'll do his own marketing, but at the same time, we're going to offer our marketing service to Abdul for free. "Hey, this is what we do. This is what's working. Here you go, do it for yourself." So how many new members does Abdul get a week? I don't know, 23, 25? Okay. Well, if it only takes 5 to break even, then that means every individual past 5 is profit. Yes. What does Abdul have to do to collect that profit? Well, nothing. Rhino does all the content. Rhino does the entire curriculum. All Abdul's doing is white labeling it for himself. He's saying, "Hey, I have friends, I have family, I have people. I would like to go ahead and take this program. You could keep it as Rhino and everything else, but I want to offer it to them." What did Rhino effectively do for Abdul? Created a passive income stream that is completely without any work on his part. He just has to pay the $25. Well, where's the 25 coming from? It's coming directly from his receivable, so he doesn't even actually have to take it out of his pocket. Money goes from A to B to C. Now, is Rhino happy? Rhino's really happy because Rhino's making $10 a week on somebody, which goes directly to Rhino Bucks, which is all the recurrings, blah, blah, blah. Is Abdul happy? Abdul's really happy. If he has 25 a week, 25 is break even. That means the other 20 times 5 is $100. He's making $100 of free every single week. Now, here's the key. Yeah, it gets better. Every individual that's in Rhino Hub is going to know what Rhino Bucks is. Again, that's the whole enchilada. So all the individuals that are in Rhino Hub for us, and Abdul and Carl and Clinton and Deborah and so forth, all of their universe is going to see Rhino Bucks as well. How many people join Rhino Bucks? Do they do it for at least $1? I'm sure the bot's going to recommend it at least once or twice. The point being, if you can go ahead and prove a model to somebody that we can guarantee that within 4 weeks, you're going to be net profitable, completely passive without ever having to touch a button. And the person says, well, why would you do that for me? Well, again, we don't do anything for free. We're doing it because we want your ecosystem. We want everyone's ecosystem. Well, why do you want my ecosystem? Because that's what Rhino Bucks is. Again, we built this. We don't care about Rhino. We don't care about any of it. We're going, and let me rephrase that. We're going to make the best programs possible, but we don't care about that revenue. That revenue goes to Rhino Bucks. Great, who cares? What we want is more people knowing what Rhino Bucks is, because the more people that get in, we get to go ahead and exhaust that supply, and we could finally do this. So when we recognized that we were plateauing, we said, all right, let's figure a better way. The gift of it is, at one point, we had something that was maybe working and converting at 1%. Now we're about 2 weeks away from launch. And again, Rhino Hub is launched right now, but the 21-day period will be up in 2 weeks, which means I can now take my time to do all the stuff I'm telling you about, rather than being live and moderating and presenting for 5 hours a day, which I do. And I love it, right? But it's stuff I have to do. But in 2 weeks, we can effectively start doing that. And what is going to be the conversion rate of individuals that want to own Rhino Hub, that want to be an agency of Rhino Hub, who want to make free money for Rhino Hub, who get into those conversions are a lot higher than 1%. Those ecosystems are a lot bigger than what we can ever imagine. So, that's what we're working on, right? So that's where we are. And to everyone that I speak to on an everyday basis, I absolutely love every single one of you. And I do know that maybe in the last 2 weeks, I've kind of been a little bit, I don't want to say short, because I'm never short, but a little bit passive, a little bit like, okay, we're getting to it. Only because now we're at the point where it's, I will always act 100% interest of Rhino. And for the most part, that's a good thing, right? Like everyone's like, oh yeah, we love Rhino. If you're acting for Rhino, that's great. But there is a part of it where I'm acting 100% interest in Rhino might conflict with some people, because they might say, hey, listen, I need this now. And I'm like, well, I don't have the time to do this now. I'm with Rhino. And that's not something that's happened, right? But I'm just sharing that I am 100% always going to act in the interest of Rhino. So if your interest is aligned with Rhino, then that's a good thing, right? All right, so let me run. I have to get prepared for our 11 o'clock Rhino Hub. We're actually doing hands-on stuff now. In fact, yesterday we opened up Salesforce and we were able to press a couple of buttons and complete a couple of tests. Like, it's really going really well. I can't even express how well it's going. It's actually going better than I thought, which is funny. Which actually, by the way, I'm going to get certified. Like, I am the case study. And when I get certified, I'm going to take on clients for Salesforce, and I'm going to just add that to Rhino Bucks, right? So Rhino will bill out at, say, $200 an hour to random businesses and just put that in. And again, that's going to be part of the case study. Well, we just did that. You could do it too. I'm rambling. I love you. Just know everything is going really better than I thought. In fact, the clothes we're making, oh my God. All right. Love everyone, love everyone, love it. Bye.